We were having a little conversation in the chat before the show started. I apologize to Ron. Yeah, you're allowed to have your own opinion. You know, not everything has to agree with me. But it is worth considering this concept of if you don't have something nice to say, it's perhaps best to say nothing. It isn't crowdsource the opinion, it's crowdsource the truth. So generally I prefer if the comments are kept to matters of fact. You know, that's the most helpful type of comment, but you know, Ron's a regular viewer, he doesn't like the meme. Let's talk about the meme for a second. This guy's honking at me, shooting across 2 lanes. That's crazy. You cannot make a right from the middle lane. Anyway, okay, the purpose of the meme was to remind people of Bill Gates' meeting with President Donald Trump that occurred, it was like January or something. Remember, Bill Gates said that, oh, you know, Trump could be like JFK. And at the time I said to myself, what the hell is that nasty little jerk Bill Gates talking about? That Trump could be like JFK. I mean, it definitely occurred to me at that time that he could have been, you know, little double meaning there to whatever it is that Bill Gates was saying. People should maybe go back and Google those articles that were out around the time that Bill Gates was meeting with Donald Trump. It's talking about how Bill Gates is funding education and he wants to change education, and look at what's happened. All little kids are locked in their rooms on Zoom with the face mask. We're currently cultivating a generation of socially illiterate individuals, people who will not walk down the street and know the kindness of a smile from a stranger, people who will not see someone from across the way at the library or a restaurant and smile, to be smiled back at, to go over and engage in conversation. By the way, alarming number of additional business closures as I walk up and down. We're on 5th Avenue right now. Everybody's, you know, eyeballing me with no mask. But if you read carefully, they do not say law. They say, you know, the mask is their recommendation. Look, people standing back, no mask, don't go anywhere near them. Could be dangerous. We're outside, and the idea is, the specific words that Mayor DeStupido said was, if you aren't wearing a mask, the Track and Trace Corps, which is run by New York Health and Hospitals, the same group that runs Elmhurst Hospital, where we saw that video of Dr. Colleen Smith back in March, who was freaking out about not enough ventilators while she was running video in the ICU where patients were wearing their shoes in the bed. There's no ICU on planet Earth where that is allowed. So what's going on in that video? Anyway, this New York Health and Hospitals, same group that also controls Lincoln Hospital that was taken over by the Weather Underground, turned into a methadone clinic in the 1970s, where we had that other video from that nurse, Nicole Sirowiec, what was her name? Who was, she said, my black guy? How is that an acceptable thing to say? But you know, these are the people that were pushing this notion that we need ventilators, that New York is the epicenter, that COVID-19 is disproportionately affecting lower income minority groups, blacks and Hispanics. Have we seen scientific data that supports that, or are we just, you know, shoving people into these types of nursing home and hospital situations where the disease is spreading? Oh my God. So, I mean, here we are, folks, 2020, President Donald Trump in the hospital, diagnosed with coronavirus. So the reason I created this meme is because, you know, the question remains, is this a just legitimate accidental infection despite the precautions that were taken? You know, obviously the New York Times, the Washington Post, whoever it was, maybe it was Drudge Report, which is essentially a leftist toilet bowl at this point, was saying that, you know, this is a White House that shirked responsibility and flirted with danger. Wow. Pink seems closed. Ignored, denied the realities, and now they're facing the realities. What is the statistical likelihood that, 3 GOP senators would also be diagnosed as this? And look at, of course, Nancy Pelosi wants to now delay the confirmation of Amy Coney Barrett. Right away, they're starting talking about, let's get Mike Pence in there. Obviously, that's going to be the first step towards saying, he can't run for president. He's not physically fit. I would have to think that Trump with COVID is still more vital and lively than, Joe Biden 2020 or even Joe Biden back in 1996. I'm not trying to be funny with him. It's definitely my sincere hope that the president recovers quickly. I'm confused about a number of things going on with this, however. Why was he not using hydroxychloroquine? Why would they give the president of the United States an experimental therapy and remdesivir? There's a number of strange things about this. And then the timing, we had that press conference this morning with the doctors talking about 72 hours right away. Ilhan Omar is in there saying 72 hours, 36 hours ago he was here. 63 hours ago he was here. Ilhan Omar is very good at keeping track of everything except for where stolen ballots are going and which one of her family members she's getting married to. MG thinks the meme is on point. I do too. Because look, here's what I'm going to say. I don't believe I've ever said that the virus is not real. It's obviously people are getting sick and dying from something. My feeling has been that it hasn't been spreading in the way an organic viral outbreak would seem to naturally go. John Cullen's done a ton of work with this. We've had some great shows over the past couple of weeks with John Cullen. If people missed last night's show, you should definitely get on there. John's been back focusing on the Las Vegas shooting for a while. Boy, that thing looks sinister. Being as, October 1st, it was the 3-year anniversary just 2 days ago. But John has spoken a lot about the CDC data related to coronavirus, how they haven't been talking about the huge influenza outbreak that's going on. We're in flu season right now. A lot of MDs have said that the symptoms for coronavirus and influenza are essentially identical. This PCR test has got everybody who's watching is going to know what I'm talking about. You replicate it, or you keep amplifying it or something like that, and there's some flaw with it according to the guy who created it, where it can always give a positive result. So it's difficult for us to know what's going on. And the obvious question in my mind is this a move by someone? How did Trump get this? I mean, they say they're not taking the proper precautions, but everybody from the vice president on down, Kayleigh McEnany and Donald Trump Jr., and everybody talks about you go anywhere near the president, you're getting tested every day. So, I mean, that's a pretty strict protocol, I would think. It's also amazing that everyone's like, all the lefty maniacs on Twitter are saying, look at all these people out there, at a vigil for the president, and they're saying they're standing too close together. I'm sure it would be fine if they were throwing firebombs at the police and spitting on each other and breaking cameras. Thanks again to Rossman Repair. We're back on the camera that Black Lives Matter broke last week. But, the double standard, the number of people wishing ill will towards the president. I mean, you forget about whether he's the president or not. He's a father, he's a grandfather, and people are out there saying that they want a negative outcome. That's absolutely terrible. So I'm approaching Trump Tower. I don't know if there's anything going on there. Could be nothing going on there. It just felt like an appropriate place to go right now. And I know a lot of people really like to see New York as it's progressing, even though, maybe it's degressing. But, it's kind of cold today. Not cold, but cool for sure. It's cooling off. We're definitely into autumn here. And I have a feeling it's going to be a cold winter in more ways than one. And so I might be, kind of running out of opportunities or diminished opportunities to do these walkarounds. I know people really enjoy them. People may have already heard that the Crowdsource the Truth and Jason Goodman personal, I'm totally kicked off of Facebook. forever. No reason given. A social engineer emailed me yesterday who's affiliated with some of the jerks that are suing me, alleging that he had the ability to reactivate the Facebook account if I did something that he wanted me to do, which is an absolutely idiotic something. He wants me to release this information that George Webb has already released, that they claim is going to reveal something, but he's already released it and it's revealed nothing. And I've told the guy, it's pointless for me to release it. I'm not interested in releasing it. And George Webb never reimbursed me for the $4,000 that I paid, airfare, car fare, hotels. I told this guy, if you want the stupid information that's already in the public domain, send me the $4,000 and I'll give it to you. He doesn't want to do that. He just wants to send me insults. Also, always contacting me right before David Hawkins' show. So what is it about these social engineers that always want to jam me up? You know, there's certain ones assigned to David Hawkins, there's other ones assigned to John Cullen, other ones trying to do stuff with Charles Ortel. Every single different guest pretty much has their own cadre of social engineers. Nobody here at all, sorry. Nobody here at all outside Trump Tower. I'm a little bit surprised by that. We still have Black Lives Matter painted on the street. We still have the blue paint. What was that woman's name? Annette, Andrea, we met her, who threw that blue paint. I mean, what a dysfunctional wreck this is right here on the street. This is all thanks to Mayor de Blasio. I thought we would have some people out here in front of Trump Tower, maybe, you know, well-wishing the president. I'll be the one-man vigil. Get well soon, President Trump. We really need that to happen. I mean, for real. But it's amazing that they just right away started talking about, is Mike Pence going to take over? Oh, did the broadcast cut? I got black on the screen here. Hopefully the broadcast is still going. Yeah, looks like it's still going. So, what else did I want to tell everybody about? So we got a ton of social engineers trying to disrupt off of Facebook. That's really annoying. That reduces the reach. I want people to think about that as well. Is it a coincidence? Is it a coincidence that Vimeo started crapping on me right at the exact same time that the Emmys sued me and cut out the main Jason Goodman YouTube channel? If you're watching this right now on Crowdsource the Truth 2, please subscribe to the Jason Goodman YouTube channel. That's the main YouTube channel for Crowdsource the Truth. If you're watching on the Jason Goodman YouTube channel, that means you missed the live stream. The president of television issued a strike based on a conclusory judgment and a false statement. And that resulted in YouTube shutting down live streaming on the main channel, really hurting the reach of Crowdsource the Truth, reducing people's ability to see shows from all the different guests, reducing my ability to introduce new viewers to the sponsor exclusive content that people can see on subscribestar.com/crowdsourcethetruth and patreon.com/crowdsourcethetruth. People can access the library of sponsor exclusive content, which has temporarily been diminished due to a number of videos being removed by Vimeo. Now, Vimeo, we discovered, is owned by Interactive Corp. Chairman and CEO is a guy named Barry Diller, who recently, just the last week or so, joined the board of MGM Resorts. And there was an article about it that made specific mention of their online gaming technology. And again, for people who watch David Hawkins, that online gaming technology, super interesting. IAC also purchased a company called StarNet Interactive. Now, we're still trying to determine if StarNet Interactive is related at all to StarNet Communications. StarNet Communications is a company that David Hawkins has spoken about quite a bit, raided in 1999 in Vancouver. They were making child porn and doing online gaming. Have there been any people out here wishing the president well, wishing him to get better during the day? Did you see anybody? Nobody. All right. Well, these guys. See, the police are super serious right now, which I understand. With the president in the hospital, the country is in somewhat of an emergency kind of compromised situation. And I've been noticing a really noticeable increase in police presence, NYPD, around the city as I walked up here. don't mess with these guys at all. Have you guys noticed any people coming out to wish the president well today in front of the building here?
No.
What? Don't you think that's a little weird? That's super ironic that your name is Smalls, dude. You're gigantic. Officer Smalls. I like it that he stopped to say hello, but I think he realized in a hot minute that he's not supposed to talk to me. So I also wanted to give everybody a nice kind of sunset video here. Autumn in New York is just absolutely beautiful, even though, you know, it's kind of terrible right now and everything is closing and people are losing their minds. The only people in the stores around here are the people working there. Oh yeah, James Bond. Apparently, even if James Bond can save the world, he might not be able to save Hollywood. They've just postponed his next movie, No Time to Die, until 2021. Hollywood and the business of movie theaters is suffering like the absolutely worst implosion imaginable. I know people hate Hollywood. I'm kind of with you on that. I used to really like it, but I think I know a lot more now about what it's all about. And we're learning a lot. This lawsuit from the Emmys. What's up, dude?
You in the way, man. Move.
So what? You gonna come and push me from behind? The fuck were you planning, man? It's a good thing I saw that. Ha ha ha, yeah, that would have been hilarious. I kiss the pavement, break my wrist again. So, see, like people who send me emails and stuff and maybe, oh yeah, Jason got angry. Some guy sent me an email earlier, he's like, cancel my Patreon account. I can't cancel people's Patreon accounts. You gotta cancel it yourself if you wanna cancel it. The only thing I can do is refund money and block people. And then when I did that, he got upset. Just go easy on me if you can, okay? I got a lot of maniacs coming at me. If you really are a supporter, because a lot of people send me these messages, I like your show and I'm a supporter, but, and then they come in with the crappy email. Just go easy on me if you can. And if you don't, the first presumption is gonna be that you're a social engineer or a jackass deliberately trying to upset me. Anyway, what was I saying? I have some other videos loaded in here that were linked to talking points. Right, so I was getting a little worried about the president when he hadn't tweeted for a while. Then we got some tweets from him earlier that seemed to indicate that he's doing all right. A lot of people were also looking at this video that he put up, which Twitter records as 18 seconds, but it's interesting that he stopped speaking at 17 seconds. And, you know, the way Twitter records the time of a video versus the actual time, I've noticed, you know, sometimes when I've loaded videos onto Twitter, they've got like a 2-minute and 20-second maximum. I don't know how they arrived at that number, but sometimes I'll make a video that's 2 minutes and 20 seconds and it'll think it's 2 minutes and 21 seconds, so I have to make it 2 minutes and 19 seconds. People watching know. I think QAnon is nonsense, but it's interesting if the president put out a 17-second video. That could be him sending a message to people who support that. I'm not saying he is, I'm just saying that's an interesting coincidence, the duration of the video, given what I know about how Twitter video works. There's the Citicorp building, I don't know if people could see that. I just thought people would find that interesting. And I mean, again, it goes back to this meme I've made, because I've named today's video, let me just check that name because it's slipping my mind here. I've named it Deep State's Last Desperate Gasp, Trump Three-Dimensional Jujitsu, or plain old Influenza, because what I'm saying is, I just find it extremely strange that Trump has been, you know, maskless this whole time, as have I, going around all over the place. I don't know if he's spoken to as many homeless vagrants, Black Lives Matter and Antifa lunatics, and, you know, defecating in the subway weirdos as I have. I'm not sure if he's done that. And I'm not saying other people should do that. I'm not saying there's no virus around. I'm not saying nobody's going to get sick. I'm just saying it is a really interesting coincidence that Trump gets coronavirus right now, where everybody starts talking about, oh, we can't confirm the Supreme Court justice. We can't have more debates. Is he even fit to run for president? Let's get Mike Pence in there. I mean, we know for the past 4 years they've been trying to just agitate and come up with whatever they can, sort of similar to the social engineers and how they deal with me. When Robert David Steele's fake lawsuit fails, magically, the Emmys come out of nowhere. I wonder if somebody alerted people at the Emmys that that image, that parody image, was in use in hope that they might sue. Perhaps they would even suggest. As a matter of fact, I did see an email that someone sent to the president of television that said it's a copyright infringement. But the person wasn't a lawyer. They were just somebody, looking at the internet. Anyway, people who are interested in the legal stuff, and I want to thank the people who have come forward and sponsored the Crowdsource the Truth Counter Lawfare Fund. People can still go to crowdsourcethetruth.com and do that. There was, I discovered when we made the transition from September to October that there was a little bit of a hiccup in the system I had set up to do the annual subscriptions on Subscribestar. But that's been fixed. I've worked directly with the technical support people at Subscribestar who are absolutely excellent. And they helped me set it all up so that now when people go to crowdsourcethetruth.com and choose to sponsor the Counter Lawfare Fund, there are a lot of options in there that include the thank you gift of a 1-year subscription on subscribestar.com. Also, Patreon has added the ability to create an annual subscription. Some people who are trying to watch the series, the new series, Deep Inside the Anti-Speech Strategy, Robert David Steele. Some people on Patreon are a little upset that that show is available only to $5 and higher sponsors. I did that for a number of reasons. People can still get on to Patreon for $2 a month. To Subscribestar for $2 a month. Patreon is sold out, and I think that may be because there's a distinct possibility that certain people have been coming in on the $2 a month subscription to agitate, almost as if social engineers are buying $2 subscriptions to come in there and post crappy comments in Patreon to try to dissuade people from sponsoring the show. And they've also bought up all the $2 sponsorships, so then people get mad and whatever. So if you want to join for $2 a month, Subscribestar is there for you. If you want an annual subscription on either, there are options. You can do it directly in Patreon or you can do it on crowdsourcethetruth.com. While I'm walking home, we can come through Rockefeller Plaza here, see what's going on. Definitely more people than the last time I was here. Yeah, and there's more cops around for sure. There's usually no cops around. Here at least there's one. And there were a lot when I was walking by, like the Empire State Building and stuff. I mean, again, I think they must be on some kind of slightly heightened alert given the compromised condition of the executive branch of the government right now. Obviously, enemies of the United States might like to take advantage of a situation like this. This is going to become the ice skating rink pretty soon. What do we got going on there? This looks like some Japanese stuff. This will probably get me a copyright thing on YouTube, but last time I was here, these things had masks on. I guess perhaps it's just individuals playing funny jokes. Then there's the whole controversy of, people are analyzing what was said in the doctor's press briefing. I mean, there's a lot of information they were asking about that would seem to fall into the category of stuff that doctors aren't supposed to tell you about patients. Maybe it's different if the patient is the president. I don't really know. I guess those guys know. It's getting a little dark, so it might be difficult to see me. Let's see what the comments are saying. Right, and the reason, I put Bill Gates there. I spoke about Bill Gates because he said that Trump might be like JFK. Right. Rest in peace, Larry Nichols, absolutely. Oh, there's things that he told me about what happened that I don't think I should say. I mean, you know, there was that period where he disappeared for a while and we didn't know what was going on. And then he came back, and then he was on the show. There was a while where we were talking, but he wasn't well enough to be on the show, and he told me a lot of stuff. He didn't tell me if anything happens to him, don't tell people. Like, in other words, if what has happened, he didn't specifically tell me not to share that with people, but how he got into the hospital, he didn't really want me to talk about. Yeah, we miss Larry. Defund the BBC. Exactly, Crespi. I think that's a common thing for Crespi to say. So I agree with that. BBC is terrible. And see, this is what really got me worried last night, is that when I first heard about it, I figured, you know, it was kind of not that big a deal. Positive test doesn't mean you're going to get sick. But then the news reporting, right? Like, they started saying, oh, he's short of breath. And that seemed to contradict what the doctors were saying because, you know, and then all those news people were asking, like, oh, did he get oxygen? Did he get oxygen? I mean, frankly, I think it's possible that when you go into a hospital like that, they might have a protocol of giving you oxygen just because. We'd have to ask doctors in that hospital. But all kinds of stuff like that happens that to lay people might seem like some super serious thing, but it's just a matter of protocol. Like they were like, why is he going to, you know, what is it, Bethesda? What's the place they took him? You know, why is he going there? And they said, because he's the president. That's where you take him to, the Naval Hospital. But then again, you know, there are other people who called and were very worried, saying that Joseph McCarthy went into that hospital for something non-life-threatening and he never made it out. And that, what's his name? Admiral Forrestal went in there. This is Magnolia Bakery, always usually has a line. That Forrestal didn't come out of there either. So people were a little worried about that. The thing that got me worried was the news reporting that CNN and NBC and all the usual suspects were, you know, acting like it's the end already. And that got me worried because it seems like, you know, they, as David Hawkins would say, always have their parallel narrative. Whatever is actually going on is not necessarily what they're telling you, but what they're telling you is the story that they want to force out. That's very disconcerting. But at the last I checked, there were 3 Republican senators who had been tested positive, and the president. And it's also weird that for a long time on David Hawkins' show, we were showing that video of a woman who appears to be Chinese in a store that appears to be Walmart, being video recorded by a woman standing in line, while the Chinese woman holds a cup with a clear liquid in it and is touching every keyboard, every surface of every computer on display in the Walmart. And when the shopper in line asks her what is she doing, the person with the liquid is ignoring her. So, I mean, is that nothing? Who is doing that at the beginning of a pandemic, spreading that unknown liquid around the laptops? Couldn't it be possible that someone has virus juice or whatever, some water with tons of viral material in it, and they're rubbing it all over everything? And if that woman either has a vaccine or is immune to the disease, that she could be one of these so-called super spreaders? And how do we know that they didn't have people who were infected with it, who could spread it, who were either, you know, expendable people or inoculated and there to make other people sick? Couldn't they inject somebody like that into the White House? Couldn't they have somebody like that go to one of these events where Trump is? What if they've been trying to do that since March? I mean, the notion of deliberately making somebody sick, is that a conspiracy theory or is that something that could possibly happen? I don't even know if these people understand what a siren is all about. You got to get out of the way. He's got a genius driving that taxi. Uh-oh, did we lose stream? It's frozen on the phone here. Okay, we're good. So, a lot of ambulance activity, fire truck activity. I mean, Alex is saying they gave it to Trump intentionally. It's possible. Chip says clam juice, bro. You gotta watch out. Clamato, right? That's a juice. Who wants that? Clam and tomato. Ugh. I guess maybe for a Bloody Mary. So what else did we want to talk about? Yeah, I was surprised that Trump didn't get into the hydroxychloroquine. I do want to thank the people that have sponsored the Counter Lawfare Fund. A lot of positive response to the new show, taking viewers deep inside Robert David Steele's anti-speech strategy. I'm thinking about doing another episode tonight. By the way, I noticed when I started that, deep inside Robert David Steele's Operation ASS, Robert David Steele launched Operation Deep Anus or something like that. He put up this tweet. So what is that about? I mean, by the way, an operative named Deep Anus is highly suggestive of George Webb involvement, because everything with George was deep something or other, deep uranium, deep BlackBerry. So, and we know that George has been doing videos with Robert David Steele since I met him, and as recently as, right after, let's say their rekindling of their friendship seemed to coincide with the collapsing of Robert David Steele's lawsuit. So, I don't know, that's interesting that he's got a source named Deep Anus. That is crazy. I mean, my title is obviously humorous play, but we are going deep inside the anti-speech strategy. I'm helping people understand how this strategic lawsuit was used as a tool to try to prevent me from sharing this type of information with everybody. It's used as a tool to try to get me to not talk about the various deficiencies that I observed, the allegations in the lawsuit where it is claimed in the lawsuit that Robert David Steele has committed charity fraud. That's one of the claims in the suit. And he was unsuccessful in proving that that was untrue. Therefore, the lawsuit was dismissed. If he's trying to sue me and I successfully get it dismissed, that's him losing and me winning. It's kind of a binary situation. We are in the mode where restaurants are allowed to have 25% occupancy inside. Obviously, they're still trying to maximize the space by having people outside. Haven't tried to go to a restaurant to check that out. I mean, it's funny. I want to go to support the local economies. There are people inside, so that's cool. There was like 2 or 3 people inside there. Hopefully restaurants can start to come back. It's still, warm enough that people can be outside, but we'll see how much longer that lasts. A lot of these places not really, having the kind of business they would want. We're very close to Times Square here, so people might be reluctant to come over here thinking there could be congregations of people doing stuff. We've seen the videos on the news, maybe not in New York. No, actually, yeah, there was. The West Village, some people irritating outdoor diners, so that might make people reluctant to do it. Also, most people who would be dining at these restaurants are probably coming from out of town, and I just can't imagine anybody would really be too interested in taking a vacation to New York City right now. Visit Bill de Blasio and Mario Cuomo. Let's see what's going on in Times Square. See, this is another thing I've noticed. I don't know if people can see this. It's a little bit of a weird exposure situation over here, but a lot of streets are closed off today. This might be for dining. So see that little pedicab guy is sitting there waiting to drive people down the street, I guess, because you can't take your car down here. Times Square looking kind of crowded, I have to say.
I have a city tour, like 20-minute city tour.
My house is 8 minutes away.
Can I see it?
What, the address?
Yes.
Ground control to Major Tom. Calling in from Mars. Exactly. Major Robert David Steele. I wonder if he'll hook up with Elon Musk and try to send children to Mars to fulfill that promise of a colony on Mars. Definitely a lot more people out than previous nights. Perhaps the bootleg Transformers are making a little money again. They're hanging out with the bootleg Avengers, bootleg Batman. We got all the fake superheroes out. Well, this is a good crowd compared to what's been around since the pandemic began. Still a fraction of normal Times Square activity for this kind of weather and this time of year, but maybe a sign that people are coming back. Let's see what we got over here. Some kind of performance or something? A lot of radio signals in here. If I'm ever doing a live stream and it gets cut off, you're going to be able to find the director's cut on subscribestar.com/crowdsourcethetruth or patreon.com/crowdsourcethetruth. The director's cut is going to be the full length. Sometimes it's twice as long, a lot more footage depending on what happens. Radio interference around the city makes mobile live streaming like this sometimes a challenge. Still don't see what we got going on over there. Is it breakdancing? Looks like somebody. Magic tricks? So it looks like we got some agitators in the chat. Carrie, what are you talking about? Yeah, there's some new social engineering channels that have popped up. People trying to put out nonsense about Bishop Gators. There it is. Got some smart Alex here in Times Square. Let's see if they charge at me now. A lot of people wanting to start problems. Oh look, we got bootleg Joker over there. Bootleg Joker hanging out with bootleg Elmo. That is funny. Got to be careful walking around here in Times Square looking at the comments. There's a lot of people who would like to do harm, either by running me over with a car, saying something stupid and grabbing the phone. So we're back a little bit to the way, oh God, I hate this guy painting the spray paint. Smell that for blocks. So there you go. People want you to wear a mask. How come no one's telling that guy don't spray paint where I'm going to breathe that in? That's not good for you. I really am interested to see somebody do some sort of actuarial evaluation of how likely people are to get sick from the activities of other people and how high up the chain coronavirus is versus other things. I just don't think that they have any scientific basis for so much of what they've been telling us about this. I also wanted to do this walk around because tomorrow, I believe the weather was predicted to be kind of bad. So Charles and I have shifted a guest, in studio to Sunday. So we're going to have a great guest tomorrow. People are going to want to watch Sunday with Charles at 3 o'clock on Crowdsource the Truth 2. Then after it finishes, it's got to be downloaded, reprocessed, and uploaded to the Jason Goodman channel. Usually goes out around 7. Replay on the Jason Goodman channel. Yeah, you can tell it's a lot less crowded in Times Square because it's usually crowded to all the way down here, like shoulder to shoulder, all the way through. Now it's just a tight pack of vagrants sort of further up that way. So we got, kind of the normal level of police activity here in Times Square. Definitely seems like a lot of pedicabs out tonight. I guess they just know that there's more people out and around due to good weather, and I guess everybody's realizing they missed the whole summer, so they want to kind of get out and have a night out, and maybe restaurants being open has more people coming out. Could be a positive sign. Good idea to dress your family up in all black so that they won't be confused for Antifa. Wow, doesn't Hugh Grant look like Pierce Brosnan in that photo? HBO. I don't understand how these movie theaters are staying open. AMC and all those huge giant places. Tons of money being spent on real estate. Nobody at all coming into the movie theaters. I don't see how they've stayed open for 7 months. It makes zero sense to me. Seen a lot of these big vans driving around tonight. Oh, that's the cops. Yeah, I'm telling you, there is a huge police presence tonight compared to other regular nights. Maybe they know something I don't know. It's a safe bet they do. Perhaps it's a good idea for me to go home and lock the door and stay inside. Guy's got a lot of stuff in the backpack, could be deliveries. The other thing this is kind of a public service announcement. Homeless people in New York City usually do not have suitcases. I saw a homeless guy on my walk up there to Trump Tower who was sitting on a not at all fancy but pretty new looking suitcase, like somebody who came from out of town and is just crashing on the street. Be on the lookout for those guys. I wouldn't really be giving out any money to them. But I've noticed a lot of people on the street who don't look like normal New York City homeless people. Homeless people that I usually see in New York City are like hardened, been on the streets for years. Looks like Red Lobster is back in action, people waiting inside there. It's a pretty popular restaurant, usually very crowded over here. I don't know if that's the only one in New York City, but that's like their flagship, Red Lobster. So perhaps restaurants are coming back. I mean, if that is the case, we are getting insight into how important restaurants are to the economy of New York in terms of bringing people out, go to a restaurant, maybe go to a show, go to a bar, go shopping, then go to a restaurant, plan your kind of afternoon in New York City or whatever it might be. But, there are all those reports that we've seen, like half the restaurants aren't going to reopen. I think that's a optimistic outlook. I would say it's going to be more than half. I was actually on the walk up there. I mean, I guess the Yard House is coming soon. We'll have to see. I don't know if they've changed their plans. I mean, again, that's a kind of a big corporate chain type of restaurant. So, I mean, they could probably tolerate losing money in one location for a couple of months if it's part of a bigger strategy. But these independent places, I mean, I wonder if tourism is picking up. I'm hearing, I don't know what language that was, but really got to keep your head on a swivel out here. It's a favorite traveling weed company. Yeah, that's the other thing I've noticed is that a lot of the, counterfeit goods street vendors have been out. It's also illegal to broadcast music onto the streets. So like, I don't understand how this thing is a business. Pret-a-manger looking pretty closed. Wells Fargo, located in 533. Somebody made a video accusing me and John Hoover of invoking 33 because we said 3 years ago the Las Vegas shooting happened and then something else was talking about 3. I know I'm always talking about, hey, that's a weird coincidence, 33. But I mean, the fact is, it was 3 years ago on the day that we were talking about it. So I don't know what that guy was getting. Hey, God, look at all these Weed World trucks. Why do they need so many? You know something? I almost never see anybody transacting any business with those Weed World trucks. So what the hell are they all about? Particularly given that what they're purporting to sell is illegal in New York. Here's another place for lease. I'm thinking about doing another episode of that Robert David Steele lawsuit show. Do people want to see that tonight? I mean, there's definitely going to be more episodes. There's a lot more episodes. So who is this idiot Carrie Sachs? Live stream booked for 7. Carrie, you know what? Stop promoting other videos in my live stream. You're going to get blocked as soon as I get home. And whatever. See, people see that. They see an idiot like Carrie Sachs promoting a live stream about me by somebody who doesn't know me. I don't know who that channel is, but that seems like a real social engineer type of thing to do. Come into my channel and tell people to go watch a video about me that doesn't have me on it. Okay. You know, anybody that I ever talk about is welcome to come on the show and defend themselves, not using a fake name. I'm me. So if you have questions about me or what I'm talking about or my history, why would you do a show and not invite me on? When people see something like that, they should ignore it and become sponsors on patreon.com/crowdsourcethetruth. Police business, right? Watching YouTube on the job? Keep up the good work. Those guys are traffic cops. You guys should be defunded, standing around doing nothing. So that's what the NYPD does. They put traffic cops like that on the street. They stand there watching YouTube on their phones instead of doing anything, including getting on the radio and calling real cops if there was something that needed to be done. Those guys are absolutely useless. And all they're doing is walking around filling ticket quotas, handing out parking tickets, and watching YouTube. Interview the weed truck staff. That's not a bad idea, but that's not going to be a real only passing the message on. You don't support the message. Carrie, you're a liar. Stop posting, okay? I'm not going to explain why I can't block you right now because that only gives you more message. Not Carol. I'm not talking about Carol. There's somebody in here saying there's a live stream somebody's doing about me. They didn't call me. I'm not in it. So what is it that they claim to know about me after 3 years of this nonsense? I can only presume that's a social engineer who's going to make a video filled with lies. And I mean, again, I want people to take a look at what's going on. Robert David Steele is sad that his fake lawsuit failed, that I'm now exposing his anti-speech strategy. People should also look at Robert David Steele's YouTube channel and notice how he had like 3,000 subscribers for like 5 years. And now suddenly, just in the last short little while, he shot up to like 90,000 viewers. How did that happen? We got George's brother accusing me of using bots and fake accounts and sock puppets. I do not do that. I have not done that. My channel has grown by covering events like this unprecedented pandemic, the Las Vegas shooting. You know, there have been certain key times that a lot of people have turned their attention towards Crowdsource the Truth. And while I do agree, there have been times that there have been unusual growth of subscribership, it hasn't been me putting fake subscribers on there. I did notice at one time last year, I got 4,000 new subscribers in a month, which was a lot. And then what happened is the following 2 or 3 months, it kept subtracting subscribers. For every subscriber I would get, they would subtract 2. So it kept the channel in this kind of negative growth mode that I believe was a strategic attack on the channel to prevent, subsequent months of growth, which might put the channel into some kind of higher recommended status or something like that. Oh, is this place out of business? Oh man, this was a giant sneaker store. See, this is what I mean. There's a lot of places going out of business. And there's another weed truck. Why does this place need a store and then 4 trucks all around? Sometimes I'm just out here observing stuff and it doesn't always make sense in the moment. Oh. So there we go. The broadcast got cut off. So this little bit I will put out on Patreon and Subscribestar. I'll also upload it to the Jason Goodman channel because there's going to be an upload after the fact. But I'm not going to redo the one on Crowdsource the Truth too. It's too much work. See, that's what you need is a couple of pit bulls. That'll keep you safe. Ooh, smells like gasoline over there. Well, yeah, there's something going on here on 7th Avenue where you come over here and the broadcast basically gets cut. But we've been through most of it. Anybody who wants to make a live stream about me should call me and give me an opportunity to participate. Otherwise, they're just slinging mud. I'm not saying I necessarily will, but people who are coming over into the chat and telling people to go look at other videos, that's not helpful. If you're a supporter of the channel, don't do that while I'm live. Yeah. Yeah, the live stream got cut. I'll be reposting the rest of it as soon as I get home. Haven't been in there since I got attacked that first time, when Charles and I, one of the first walkabouts on Sunday with Charles, or whatever day it was with Charles that I was walking around in there. And the second I walked in there, some dude totally assaulted me. Got like a DJ on the street here. Oh yeah, I know this guy. This guy's always out here. Claims to be making some kind of documentary, but it's a documentary about him standing there getting money from people to have their picture taken. I don't think it's really a documentary. Here's more Verizon trucks installing, I think, fiber optic. I think because they're expecting a lot more people to be doing stuff on Zoom and whatever. And New York is becoming a very fiber optic town. This was a bank. Smashburger is coming. Wow. That's interesting. Banks closing. Never seen that before. But there's a lot of banks closing. Yeah, I was going to go over to 8th Avenue to avoid that little area. It's still, the last time I walked down there, it didn't cut the broadcast, so I guess it's hit or miss. See, this is what I wanted people to see. I had observed that the cops are blocking off their streets tonight, which they hadn't necessarily been doing recently. And I wonder if that's kind of like heightened security protocol based on the president being in the hospital. I think they said it's the first time that happened since Reagan assassination attempt, which was also a deep state play, George H.W. Bush. wanting to become president. That was the move. You know, why run for president when you could just get in there as vice president and then kill the guy? LBJ did that. Very probably with the help of H.W. Bush. So if it ain't broke, don't fix it, right? You know, I think they know they can't just shoot a president again. It's a little too obvious. From their point of view, what's happening right now could be perfect. No one will suspect. I mean, it's the ultimate double whammy for the people who hate Trump and love everybody being masked up, stuck in their house, afraid of coronavirus. Trump was the ultimate cheerleader for open up the country and let everybody out without masks. If he succumbs to it, everybody who was in agreement with him will have a tough time supporting that argument. And everybody who is opposed to him will feel emboldened and empowered and continue to infringe on everybody's rights and try and get us all to stay locked inside with the napkins. So yeah, I think I'm going to do another episode of Deep Inside Robert David Steele's anti-speech strategy tonight. I want to get through the complaint. I want to help people understand how it all started out and what was going on. Here's a restaurant that doesn't seem to be open. Why? This is a bar, too. Totally empty. Wow, that place is usually busy because it's close to the train station. It's eerie and quiet over here. Wow, it's later than I thought. Oh man, and the battery's almost dead on the phone. Yeah, low battery notice. All right, well, it's a good thing I'm almost done. Get back upstairs and get another episode of Deep Inside Robert David Steele's anti-speech strategy, help people understand what I believe the purpose of his lawsuit was, what happened in all the hearings, the different pleadings, the nonsense and lies that they put into the accusations, how they were able to get away with doing that sort of thing. Certain people who are commenting on the lawsuit now seem to think that there's opportunities to sue people for libel and defamation for things that are said in the lawsuit. That's not the way that works. A lot of people commenting. I'm not a lawyer, so I don't know everything about the law. I hardly know anything about the law, but I know more about what happened in this case than the random people that are commenting about it on the internet. Oh yeah, I hope the battery stays going long enough for me to walk by this thing, because I wanted to show everybody this when I was leaving before, but I couldn't start the stream down here. It would have just been going way too long. But people know that I live right over here. Oh, did I walk past it? Or no, I think it's over here. People know that I live over here by the Fashion Institute of Technology, and they have their kind of art display that goes up outside here. And it's very, very focused on Black Lives Matter topics. And I saw they had this painting here, or chalk drawing, or whatever this is, of Breonna Taylor. And it just reminded me, I don't know how many people know that she was involved in drug sales and drug dealing, and she's been lionized. She's a hero to the Black Lives Matter movement, but what about all the drugs she was selling and helping be sold in her neighborhood? What about the families that it affected in her community? Were people killing each other over that? I mean, she got killed over it. There was some dead guy in her rental car that the cops were coming over to her house to investigate about. Why aren't we hearing about that? Why are we not hearing about that? Why is the news not telling people, look, you should not make heroes out of criminals and drug dealers while you're throwing bombs at the police? We are going in the totally wrong direction right now. And if anything bad happens to President Trump, I think we're in serious trouble. We need him back in the White House ASAP. We need him to win in 2020. Joe Biden, not good, in my estimation. So that's what's happening. We've got the Facebook channel shut down. We've got the main YouTube channel in crippled mode. We've got Vimeo attacking video after video. I hopefully am just a couple weeks away from having the Crowdsource the Truth video host that will be the new home for all the sponsor exclusive videos. I hope people will sponsor now. You're still getting the new sponsor exclusive videos now, and the entire library will be restored in just a couple of weeks when the custom made video host is complete. So please get onto subscribestar.com/crowdsourcethetruth or patreon.com/crowdsourcethetruth, or go to crowdsourcethetruth.com and sponsor the Counter Lawfare Fund. You're going to be able to watch the Robert David Steele series going deep inside his anti-speech strategy, and you're going to be able to watch all of the cool sponsor exclusive shows on there. I cannot do this without your support and sponsorship, so thanks for watching, everybody, and I'll be back in just a little while with another episode. See you then.